every single way. Conceited, that's what they say. But when you're number one, you can act that way.
For 102 years, Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority have continuously paved the way in global leadership and service to all mankind. Alpha Kappa Alpha was the first black sorority ever to be established on January 15th, 19. It's a serious matter. Always. Serious. Alpha Kappa Alpha. AKA. Ow. I'll tell you my sorors. There is no other way. No, it's not, honey. It's not. Some try to duplicate. Others try to replicate. But this you cannot implicate. Simply AKA. Break it on down.
My brethren, be strong in the Most High, and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yah, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand and withstand in the evil day. And having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, take the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High Yah.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Shabbat Shalom, family of the Most High Yah, and welcome to another Sword of the Spirit audio biblical teaching broadcast. We are your hosts, the servants of Yah, and we greet you on this beautiful Sabbath day in the name of our Master, Yahushua HaMashiach. Blessed be the Most High Yah, and peace be unto all whom he has called and marked with his love from the very beginning. So with that being said, I'm going to bring in my co-host, Prina. Shabbat Shalom, sis.
Shabbat Shalom, sis. How are you?
I'm fine. It is a blessing to be here on today. We've had some challenges this week during our both, but praises be to the Most High for allowing us to see another day, another Sabbath, and a blessing to be able to come before his people again. So we're just grateful for today.
Yes, indeed. I am too. Thank you.
All right, so let's get into today's 39th show. Today's 39th show is entitled Exposing Black Greek Idolatry. And today this is a very touchy subject, and it's going to be a touchy subject for many. However, we pray that after hearing this show, that those who are still involved in Black Greek sororities and fraternities will see the truth of what they are and will come out. Many of our brethren, Prina, they do not know what it is that they're involved in. They don't know the origin of these Black Greek letter organizations. They don't have any idea how our people, especially Judah, the so-called African American, how we have been influenced in the ways of the Greco-Roman culture, and that we still have that Greco-Roman mindset, in many ways, just outside of the fraternities and sororities. And so we're going to just take you behind the scenes today within these organizations. We're going to prove today through scriptural proof, history, as well as testimony. You're going to hear some testimonies from former or ex-Black Greek sorority and fraternity members who have come out, and they're going to share with you why they came out and how the Most High, Yah led them into the truth of what they were really in. Because many of us, I used to want to be in it, and I praise the Most High Yah today that He blocked every attempt. When I was in college, He blocked and even when I was in grad school, there were so many of my students or classmates, when I was in grad school, that were AKAs, at least like 6 or 7. Okay. And they were all, going to try to pledge me, grad chapter, and they were like, we're going to let you know when the meetings are and telling us how it is and, what you have to do. They call you paper, when you don't go through all of the hazing and, the defaming that you have to go through. But they call it paper or skating. If you don't go through all of the humiliation that many of you have to suffer to become a part of these organizations. So, but I was going to join. And every time I inquired about the meetings and when they were going to have the meetings and I was going to attend the meetings and the meetings got canceled, I mean, it was not His will. And I thank Him today. Sometimes when we're trying so hard to do something and every angle is being blocked, sometimes we need to just stop and sit still because this may analyze. Because sometimes it's not His will. He's blocking you because He's trying to protect you. Yes. And I'm so grateful that He blocked every attempt when I was in undergrad as well as when I was in grad school. So all praises be to the Most High. So today we're going to basically expose the truth. What goes on behind the scenes in these Greek fraternities and sororities. What God, we're going to reveal today for every 9, they call them the Divine 9, and most of them are historically Black college universities. I'm gonna expose all the gods one by one, break down each organization and the God that organization serves or honors. And none of them have anything to do with the Most High Yah. And we're going to show you how this is directly connected to idolatry and how it breaks the Most High's greatest command, which was to love Him with all thy heart, mind, and soul. That was His first command, which was the greatest command, and how it breaks the first 4 commandments. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And for the state of the body panel discussion, today's discussion title is entitled Yah is not the author of confusion. And we're going to be discussing the recent division and strife and confusion that has happened amongst the Most High's people as it pertains to genealogy and salvation, specifically because we're going to get right into it. We also have a special guest speaker today. Her name is Sister Joanne Perry. She's going to share her truth as far as how the Most High has led her into who she is today. So, you know, she's always calling in, and she's been a big encourager of ours. And so, you know, I just finally said, you know what, I want you to come on and share your testimony. So she's going to share her testimony today. So praise God, and looking forward to hearing that. But let's get right into today's discussion. Yah is not the author of confusion. And the confusion that we have been recently witnessing today, or not today, but just as of recent, I would say in the past, like 2 weeks maybe.
Yes.
There's a documentary film that came out by the Watchmen. It's entitled White It Out for the Lost Tribes, the 12 Lost Tribes Found. And I have a lot of respect for the minister and his wife. I listened to a lot of their teachings, and I've learned a lot from some of their videos. What we're going to talk about today is not to dispel what was said in the movie or the documentary, but to just basically bring our people back and put everything into perspective, and that we can really focus on what is really important. And, you know, it was grieving me with some of the things that I was witnessing and seeing as it pertains to this film. Since it's come out, there has been a lot. And when I say a lot of confusion, a lot of strife. I have seen and witnessed people, going hard at each other, cursing one another out, you know, Ephraim, you know, being vexed by Judah and back and forth, and, you know, all the things, arguing, you know, since this film has come out, people are arguing now, you know, they're arguing, you know, that the so-called Latinos and the Mexican and Hispanics or whatever, they're not Ephraim. That's the big thing that's going on right now that was basically revealed in the film from the film. And we're not saying that we're agreeing or disagreeing, because I saw the film. Frida, you saw the film. I didn't agree. Yeah, I didn't agree with everything that was in there. I'm going to say that. Right. But I'm not saying that they were wrong. Everything that was said did not agree with my spirit, and I am led of the Most High. I'm not led of what men put out, what documentaries people put out. I have to always, like I say, go back behind anyone, and I tell people that to do that with me. Don't listen to me. Don't follow me, because we are just vessels that He is using to wake up the body to teach the truth of His word. But don't follow me. Get behind me. When I put out something, get behind me too. You are required to do that. You don't put your trust in no man. So when I have the spirit of discernment, and when I watched it, for the most part, I agree with them. They revealed some things that I did not know, and there were some other things that did not agree with my spirit. So at that point, I have to go back and study. There's some things that I need to go back and study. But right now, Israel's arguing over the 12 tribes chart now because of the film. You know, when I say going at it, I mean cursing each other out, calling each other names, you know, telling people, I've been seeing people talking about other nations not going to be saved, and because they're mixed, they're arguing over the who's Ephraim now. They're arguing over that. The Joseph coats of many colors. You know, and I just want to quickly just read this. I put a post out because of all of the confusion that I was seeing. I want to quickly just read this post, and then I'm going to have you chime in. O chosen people of the Most High, your flesh cannot run side by side with Yah. So now I see, since this new film has come out, you're all over the place, as usual, arguing and debating over the 12 tribes chart, who's Ephraim and Gad, Joseph coats of many colors, and the latest, Ephraim is a cake not turned. The sad part is there is much strife and division in the air being caused by those who most likely haven't studied, researched, fasted, nor prayed to seek the face of the Most High concerning this new information. You're just straight debating and disputing over genealogies worried about what nation of people are and are not making it into the kingdom, yet have failed to concentrate working out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Titus 3:9 has instructed us to not engage in this type of foolishness because it is not profitable, nor is anyone being edified. Too many of you are concerned about who's Esau in their faith, but have forgotten that we are in this condition and are being oppressed by other nations because of our disobedience to the covenant that we made with our Most High Yah in Exodus 19:3-8. I stand with 2 Timothy 2:23 as it counsels, but foolish and unlearned questions avoid, knowing that they cause strife. Some of you listen to every new teaching that comes along, always thinking that you're coming into some new knowledge and haven't studied a lick. My point, many of you are arguing and debating over new information that you are unlearned about. You're just regurgitating what someone else has taught, and this is how many of you have strayed away from the truth, because you are not grounded and you are not led by the set-apart spirit of Yah. You are, as 1 Timothy 6:4 says, always having an unhealthy desire to debate over the meaning of words, stirring up strife, and again, haven't studied at all. Many of you are debating about the 12 tribes chart, Esau, who's Ephraim and Gad, and haven't learned how to walk correctly before the Most High. Stop concerning yourself with what nation of people will and will not be saved, while at the same time you yourself aren't walking in obedience to the Torah. We are in the last days, and we as a nation should be spending our time, especially the tribe of Judah, the leading tribe, edifying and building up those who are awakened to the truth, as well as pulling down the strongholds of Satan that have many of our people still bound in these false churches and religions. Many of our people are still asleep. So I ask the following questions. What are you doing to awake those who are still asleep? If you have a gift, are you using it to build up Yah's kingdom? Or are you spending time posting foolishness and arguing on someone else's page who are not out here, and you're not out here in the trenches doing the work? We have no time to waste shadow boxing someone else's salvation or the salvation of the other nations who will have a right to the tree of life if they obey his word and take hold to this covenant. This is not to say that the film Whited Out 4 was not accurate, because there was some very credible information provided in the film, which was very helpful. However, I myself have to study behind what was presented as well. They're very good teachers in the faith, and I have much respect for them. However, I will not be pulled into many of the contentious and foolish debates that I am witnessing because of this film. As believers, we are all required to study to show ourselves approved unto Yah, that we might rightly divide the word of truth, and that is exactly what I plan on doing, as I do with everything that is given and or presented to me outside of Yah's revelation. Ecclesiastes 3:23 warns us, be not curious in unnecessary matters. And Ecclesiastes 3:21 urges us to seek not those things that are too hard for us. Search the things that are above, or do not search the things that are above our strength. At the end of the day, knowing who Esau is, the 12 tribes chart, and worrying about what nation is or isn't of us will not get you, O house of Israel, into the kingdom of Yah without obedience. There are many who have come to the truth of who they are, but will still perish. Yah knows all, and he will restore all. Just because your blood descended Israel does not mean that you're sliding into the kingdom if you're stiff-necked and disobedient, as many of our forefathers were in the wilderness. Trust for sure, Yah knows who they are, where they are, and will regather the true remnant of Israel when it is time, all those who have a sincere heart after him. We don't have to worry about anything because Yah has it covered. Our job is to concentrate on making your own salvation sure. Let the Most High Yah do the rest. He doesn't need our help. Stop arguing and debating amongst yourselves and sincerely walk this truth out. Get busy doing the work of Yah's kingdom and waking up our brethren. And I want to go back to these last two scriptures. Titus 3:9 says, but avoid foolish debates and genealogies, quarrels, and disputes about the law. He says, for they are unprofitable and worthless. Worrying about who Esau is well, this person over here is Ephraim, and you guys are no longer Ephraim, and this 12-tribe chart, I knew this. I mean, I'm seeing, like, Prina, so many people, I'm talking about cursing each other out, going at it. Get your life. Worry about your own salvation. Knowing who Esau is, knowing about who is who on the 12-tribe chart, that's all fine and dandy. But that's not getting you into the kingdom.
No, it's
I have seen many brethren discouraged.
Yeah.
Since this film has come out, the confusion that it's causing, and I'm not blaming it on the film, but what I'm saying, Yah is not the author of confusion.
Yeah.
He told us, be not curious in unnecessary matters. He said, for more things are showed unto you than men can understand. I was grieved a little bit, I must say, after seeing some things, especially with the Joseph coat of many colors, and Ephraim is a cake nocturne, and it really means this, and this doesn't mean that this is us. You cannot tell me our people were scattered from one end of the earth to the other.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that we have mixed in with everybody.
Yeah.
Israel as a whole, all 12 tribes, have mixed in with everybody. That's the reason why I said some things in there I have to go, I have to pray, I have to fast, I have to seek the Most High's face. I'm not going to say one way or another. But there has been too much dissension. There's been a lot of strife, confusion, arguing. And when this is going on, please know that the enemy is in the midst, because Yah is not the author of confusion.
And that's what I was going to say. Prophecy is being fulfilled right before our eyes. Ezekiel prophesies that the dry bones will become one, Judah and Israel, the 10 lost tribes. And we see that we're waking up in pockets, and instead of putting people down, we need to get into this law and study the law, know Yah's commandment. That's the most pivotal thing for our salvation. That's our guidance, is keeping the commandments, not, like you said, knowing who Esau is, knowing who the fitting in the chart, because all our families have been mixed in with the Native Americans and different people, so you don't know who is who's much and who ain't. Only Yah know. And so my thing is, as we are stumbling back to Yah and we are in the waking up process, we need to remember one thing, that we need to be sober, we need to be vigilant, and know that the adversary is out there roaming like a lion, seeing who he can devour, and he's right now in the midst of us, like you said, lurking, because he knows we're waking up, and he knows that his, the word, a house that's divided cannot stand. He knows that. And our two kingdoms, in the prophecy, we're going to be as one. But if we have so much discord and division, he knows that he's winning, and the tools that he's trying to use to keep us debating with genealogies and foolishness, he knows that he got who he can keep hold to. He only can keep you if you or draw you or keep you off the course of your salvation.
Distracted.
You fall into it. You have to fall into it. Can't nobody take your salvation away, but you are the one. And so Satan knows that a house divided cannot stand. So we need to stop as Yah's people and return back to his law, his standards, and his statutes and commandments, and do it as Ezra prepared his heart to do it, to teach it. We need to bring people to the Most High Yah. Our discord and our dissension is causing a reproach. People are seeing us on Facebook, and they're not leading people to the Most High. They are taking the Most High people and turning them away, just like the churches are.
The same way with the behavior. And that,
with our behaviors. And it's ridiculous. And like you said, it grieves you that you got to worry about all these things when all he asked you to do was the duty of man is to keep the commandments. That's it. You keep them. Do them. You like you said, they're arguing over the stuff, but they're not even keeping them. They beard hanging low. You know, they wobbling to and fro, but they ain't doing nothing. They just sitting around arguing, waiting on somebody to put out something so they can sit up and argue. Like you said, just always want to get an unhealthy debate. Oh, well, this is Ephraim, and these people are Ephraim, and you're not Ephraim. And then all the 12 tribes are, okay, we know they all started out black or black skin. The Egyptians were black, but we're not Egyptians either. You know, your skin color, that's why I said don't get caught up in that. Yeah. Your skin color does not determine your nation. Your nation. Okay. Yeah. That Israel has mixed himself up among the people. He was among them, and he mixed himself among them. Okay? Mm-hmm. We see this interracial we see this going on today. Yeah. It's been going on. There's nothing new under the sun. So if you're going to look at someone and say, oh, well, you're not Ephraim because you don't have black skin, don't get caught up in that. That's why I said, at the end of the day, you want to bring people to the Most High, not draw them away. Okay, if someone wants to join themselves and take hold to the covenant, allow them to. Yeah. Now we know what it says as far as the other nations. They will be saved. Okay, it will be a righteous servitude. They'll be serving us. Yes, and it will be a righteous servitude. And I saw something that one young woman put up, and I said she's speaking with much wisdom. She said, at the end of the day, does it matter about this whole Ephraim artist? She said, as long as you have salvation, and you able to make it in the kingdom, and you're not in the lake of fire. She said, that's all we need to worry about. We worried about all of these things, and this is the same thing with saying Judah vexing Ephraim. We still doing it today. Yes, we are. Y'all know who they are. This is why I say, if you suffering them curses of Deuteronomy 28, you are one of the 12 tribes. Yeah. Okay? If you suffering them curses of Deuteronomy 28, and some, like I said, you know, I didn't agree with everything, and I'm not speaking for or against it. But what I'm saying is I have to study behind it. But what our plea is for you, O nation of Israel, stop arguing and debating about the 12 tribes chart, who's Ephraim, and then Joseph coat of many color, and Joseph is Ephraim is a Kate of not turn. All of that doesn't matter if you know all of that and you still fornicate. Yeah. You're going to be a cake unturned in the lake if you still fornicating. And you worry about who Ephraim, but you don't got. So get your salvation in order. That's what you need to be worried about. That's why we don't spend time here on this show, and we're doing it now because it grieves me because of all of the division and the strife and the confusion. We're trying to draw you back, like somebody slap you in the face and say, okay, get it together. That's what we're doing. Bring the focus back to where it needs to be, which is learning who Yah is, learning of his laws, his statutes, his judgments, his commandments, and walking in it. Because having all that extra knowledge is fine if you know it and the Most High reveals it to you. But I'm not getting ready to put out stuff like this. You know why? Because I'm focused on waking our people up to the truth. That's what you start walking in this. You need to learn of his ways so that you can start walking this out. We're concentrating on helping you to stay on the narrow road. That's what this is about. Because knowing all that extra stuff, I know who they are, but I'm not getting ready to waste none of my shows talking about it. You're not going to see who is Esau's show. If you're looking for that, you might as well go to listen to somebody else. I'm not getting ready to waste my time on that. Yeah. What the Most High has given to me is to turn my people back to my Torah. Whether you are of the 12 tribes or whether you're not and you want to take hold, we're here to lead you back to him. What the prophets, and the disciples and the apostles and Yeshua when he walked this earth, we're here to restore back what they taught, not what you're hearing in these Sunday churches. That's it. We're not concerned about the rest of that.
you know, you can learn that on your own time, but it's like he said, why did the Most High put this out here?
Yeah.
Why did he put that out here? Why did he put out here in Titus 3, avoid foolish debates about genealogy and quarreling and disputing about the law? Why did he say that it's unprofitable and it's worthless? It's a waste of time is what he's saying.
Yeah. And
if
it's
you
not
don't know how to live before him correctly, it's a waste of time. You can know who Esau is, but you still burning in the lake. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and it's not even edifying, you know, our brother.
No.
Or lifting them up. It's doing nothing.
It's doing actually the opposite. Well, I've been witnessing actually the opposite where people are discouraged, you know,
yes.
because of it.
And we just, you know, people need to use discernment when, you know, and know when the enemy is in the midst. You know, division is not of the Most High Yah, is not a fruit of His Spirit, and we just need to know that. And we're in the spiritual race, and people need to know that our mark or our prize is salvation, and that's what you should be running your race. Your race should be consist of keeping your eye on the prize. And
let me say this, just in case. Let me say this just in case somebody say, "Oh well, Yeshua." Yes, Yeshua said He came to bring a sword.
Yes.
Okay. His word will divide, but it's going to separate the law from those who are lawless and those who keep it. They're separating the wheat from the tares. Those who have a heart of spirit, those versus those who have a heart of flesh.
Right.
Those who want to obey and walk in obedience, and those who want to be disobedient. Okay, that's what it does do. But the confusion that we're seeing that's going on now, where people who are trying to walk this walk out and now they're discouraged, that's not of Him, because His word is not going. His truth should not discourage you. If you have a heart after Him and you truly trying to walk this walk out, that's what we're talking about today. And that the sword that's coming is to divide the obedient from those who are disobedient.
Yes.
The wheat from the tares. Those who not even trying to walk this walk out, who are lawless, who can care less. Is that His word is going to either draw you or pull you away. One of the two. Because sometimes for some people the truth is too hard to bear and they can't deal with that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people who actually are studiers of this word, who are teachers of this word, who may not be Judah, who may be of the house of Ephraim or Israel, and now they're discouraged because of it.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is be encouraged. Whether you Israel or not, be encouraged today if you have eyes that can see, ears that can hear, and a heart that can understand. If you are keeping His laws, statutes, judgments, and commandments, be encouraged, because you don't have to face a lake of fire if you endure to the end. So I'll let you, whatever you have to end and say, because I'm pretty much done.
I was just going to say, Israel needs to remember only 1/3 is going to be saved, a remnant. And all this foolishness is going to be, you're going to be with the 2/3 that's cut off. So they just need to, like you said, cut it out and just work out your salvation with, you know, trembling and fear at all times. You know, we just need to be about our Father's business and not worrying about things that's going to cause strife and discord. That's all I have to say.
Okay, well, we're going to get right into today's show then. So, today's so before we get into today's show, let me just do a quick recap of last week's show. Last week, if you missed last week's 38th show, it was entitled "The Curse of Knowing Good and Evil." We went back to the beginning and revisited the story of Adam and Eve, the fall of mankind in the Garden of Eden. And we talked about the curse and revealed what the curse is of knowing good and evil and what truly took place and what the tree of life as well as the tree of knowledge of good and evil represented. And so if you missed that, it was a very good lesson. Go back and on via the Daughter of Yah YouTube channel, and you can check out our 30th show and listen to that. Today's 39th show is entitled Exposing Black Greek Idolatry. And so, as I stated in the beginning, before I get started, I'm just doing a quick disclaimer. We're here to expose darkness. We're here to dispel myths. We're here to expose the deep things of Satan, expose his kingdom in every crevice that we become aware of. Wherever they're hiding, and the Most High reveals it to us, we want to expose it. We want to bring light into areas that are dark. Many of our people are unlearned and may not know that, like Yeshua said to the woman when she said, our fathers worship on this mountain. He says, woman, you know not what you worship. This is what many of our people are in. They're in things and they're attached and joined to things that they have no idea of what they're worshiping. Okay, so today's show is for those of you who say you love the Most High Yah with all of your heart. This show is not, and I repeat, it is not for those of you who do not love my Father Yah and His Son Yeshua, who have no interest in knowing or walking in the truth of His word. If you are stiff-necked, hard of heart towards His word, and you don't want to know of His truth, then this is your cue to stop listening, hang up the phone, and go listen somewhere else. Because a lot of things, this is going to be touchy. Some of you, if you're not in a Black Greek sorority or fraternity yourself, maybe you know a family member or a friend, as I do, know many that are in it. And so I'm hoping that they will listen to this audio recording later on today when it becomes available. And I strongly suggest any of you who are listening, if you know any family members or friends or coworkers or anyone that you even care about, who say they have a love for the Most High but may not know the truth, after this is over with, you need to share this. So before we get started, we're going to listen. Before I get started, we're going to listen to the first audio clip. This audio clip you're going to listen to right now is coming from two Hebrew Israelite brothers who actually came out they were a part of, I think they were Kappa Alpha Psi. They were Kappas, and they're just going to share with you some wisdom about some things that they came across when they were in this organization. And so, we're going to listen to that audio clip, and then we're going to come right back.
Shalom, Israel. Shalom. This is Brother Brandon and Brother Michael. We're coming back with part 2 of we're trying to give understanding on fraternities and sororities and, the wickedness that's involved in that, the satanic influence that is involved in that. And, you've seen that we gave our testimony about how we came out of that situation, which goes to show that you can do it. We're not only giving understanding on this topic, but also encouragement for those that are out there that don't know that this is a satanic tool used by the devil himself, and according to the Bible. And so we just want to try and give understanding, not too much detail, but just enough for you to start your research. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the definition of an idol. And in the Greek Strong's Concordance, the definition of an idol is the Greek Strong's number 1497, and it says an image for worship by a heathen god or the worship of such. And an idol, can be a figure or some type of fashion, anything that you put before the Most High God himself. And, and who you serve, who do you honor, who do you put your servitude to, who do you worship pretty much. or what do you worship? And what you have to understand too, when you read this book right here, I got the King James Version of the Bible, you'll see that God's people went into different captivities. And in those captivities, they got accustomed to the cultures of those certain captivities: Egyptian, Assyrian, Medes and the Persians, and Babylonian, Greeks and the Romans. And what this book is right here is called the Apocrypha. And what it is 14 books that non-inspired people took out of our Holy Bible, along with other books. But what the Apocrypha does is give understanding, in 1 Maccabees and 2 Maccabees about the culture of the Greeks. And you'll see that they worship many different gods. And how we're tying all this into this topic is Greek letter organizations have a Greek origin. When the Greeks worship many different gods, they didn't stop doing that. It's just, it got hidden through time, because we didn't think to search it out. So you really have to do your research, and you'll see how fraternities and sororities trace all the way back to Greek gods.
And sometimes even some ancient times, some of them, you can kind of tell they got even origins even back to Egyptian times and, stuff of that nature. But you just got to understand that looking at our culture and society, it's easy, it's pretty easy really to see how the Greek letter organizations tie into our society as being a real, true, modern day Roman Greek society, and how we function as, about it. And even in schools, looking at how our government and everything is set up, and looking back to and making a comparison to the Greek and Roman times, there's a lot of similarities you can make. And then on top of that, you got to think also in school, what do they teach us? You know what I'm saying? For the most part, I believe, you can, confirm this for yourself or whatever, but we learned about Greek and Roman mythical gods. We basically learned their religion in our schools. I know we were Christians and this, that, and the other at that time or whatever, but yet still, that was another religion passed on to us in school. And you may not see it as that because we're doing research and stuff like that and all kind of stuff. I don't know what y'all did, but we kind of went into detail with certain gods and this, that, and the other, and you know what I'm saying? But yet still, this has been going on for some time. And I don't know, it might still be going on in school as far as learning about that too, but our society is hands down a Greek and Roman society / culture. And you understand, we are a melting pot. That's what they call it in America, a melting pot. We have different cultures and things of that nature anyway. So we already got a lot of pagan god worship all, amongst us regardless. So, these Greek letter organizations, or organizations similar to this, there's only one way. There's only one true God. So you understand that, anything other than that, you may not think you are serving other gods just because, you don't bow down. When you think of worship, when you think of idols, they're like a totally separate definition from what you are, have been trained to think. Thank you. Trained to think, you may not think you're actually serving these gods, but you are putting these gods before the Most High.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line.
Because the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and then all these things will be added unto you. The Bible also says no man can serve two masters. Either he gonna love one and hate the other, or he's gonna hold fast to one and disregard the other.
And basically, and you gotta understand, even when you watch with TV and how society has trained us, we want things. And so sometimes we even get into the mode of, well, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get what I want or get to a certain level I want in society. So, these things are sitting right there. Well, how about you join our organization? Our organization does such and such and such. I mean, we help the community. We do all these food drives. We support all the breast cancer awareness and this, that, and the other. But do you necessarily have to join these organizations to actually, do these things for people? I mean, actually be a good, I guess, citizen of the United States, American citizen, and do these things? No, you don't. But our society has trained us to really, go along, well, you need this. So, of course you need money to get this. So what do I need to do? Go to college. And then after college, it's like, well, you have connections, you have certain things of that nature, but you may have to do something extra to get to where you want to be. So, boom, it's right there in your face. So you want to, I guess, so-called research it. I thought I researched it. I just saw Christian fraternity, and I was like, okay, I'm good. I researched it. That's fine. It can't be wrong, but that's how our minds have been trained in this society. So.
Exactly. And then when you look and see, in most of these, Christian churches, you'll see most of the pastors, preachers, deacons, ushers, members, all of those churches, a great majority of them, have members that are in these fraternities and sororities. So if you go to church and you should ask yourself, if you research it and you find out that rituals are of the devil, sacrificing yourself, meaning like your bodies, you're sacrificing your time to be a part of these fraternities and sororities. You have to undergo hazing or many different pledging processes against your will, because that's pretty much what hazing is. After you see these things, you start to wonder, I see these in my churches, why isn't anybody talking about it? Because, if you understand how Satan operates, you'll see that he uses a little bit of truth to give deception. He's deceived the masses of the people to making them think that these organizations are okay. It's okay to give honor to, dead founders. It's okay to give honor to a Greek letter organization to do so-called good works. You don't need. I don't need to join a fraternity or Freemasonry or whatever to walk a lady across the road. Or to give cans out to the needy. I don't need organizations to do all that. I can do that just out of the good of my heart. Why do I have to undergo punishment to my temple in order to be a part, or to pledge an oath in order to be a part of these organizations? I don't have to do that.
All right. So these were two Black Hebrew Israelite brethren who were actually Kappa, who came out, and they made some pretty good points in the film. Due to the children of Israel's disobedience to the Most High's covenant, it was prophesied in Jeremiah 17:4 that they would lose their inheritance. And when you think about your inheritance, your inheritance is all that you are. It's your culture. It tells you who your power, the God that you serve, your way of living, and everything that represents you. And so we as a people, especially the so-called Black man, the so-called African American, we as a people have been robbed and spoiled to the point that the very nature of who we are and who we were before we arrived on those cargo slave ships have not only been hidden but erased to the entire world. So let's read Jeremiah 17:4. Jeremiah 17:4 says, "And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from your inheritance that I gave you, and I will cause you to serve your enemies in the land which you have not known. For you have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever." So again, when you take a people that have been mentally, physically, and spiritually enslaved, which is the worst of the three, you join and be a part of any movement, of any organization because you've been stripped away from any reminder of who you were. And this is the consequence that results from the prophecy of Jeremiah 17:4 that I just read. This is the consequence of having no identity. When you don't know who you are, you're going to be grasping for straws. Any and every organization, movement that sounds good, that's how our people, have gotten hooked up in this Egyptology and Kemet and, in the pyramids, and we built the pyramids, because our people always keep going back to Egypt. Because we want to associate ourselves with something great. And because everything has been stripped from us, like you said, robbed, we are people that are robbed and spoiled. And we've been hidden for so long, we have no identity. So it's no wonder why our people have identified with the Greek god, those who enslaved us. When you look at or listen to the reason why many of our people join a sorority or sorority, you'll often hear, well, I wanted to feel like I belong. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be accepted. These are some of the things that I have heard. And even when I considered it, I'm like, well, this looks, cool to be a part of a brotherhood, a sisterhood. As many of us claim, they want to be a part of a brotherhood, a sister. They want to feel like they belong. Because we as a people have not felt like we belong anywhere. Because we don't realize it stems back to the curses of Deuteronomy 28. It's a result of our identity and our heritage being removed from us. So my question is, what would make a nation of people who are Hebrew want to uphold or claim to be Greek, a.k.a. Greco-Romans, who enslaved them? Joel 3:6 reads, the children also of Judah, so-called African-American, and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, that you might remove them far from their border. So the prophet Joel said, the children of Judah, and the children of Jerusalem, we were sold into the Grecians, the Greeks. And a precept to that, I'm going to read in a minute, but First Maccabees 2:7, and this is where Mattathias, a priest, he was a priest in Israel, this is what he said in First Maccabees 2:7. He said, woe is me. Why was I born to see this misery of my people and the set apart city, Jerusalem, and to dwell there? He said, why was I born at this time to see the misery of our people? He said, why was I born to see the set apart city and those that dwell there? He says, when it was delivered into the hands of the enemy and the sanctuary into the hands of strangers. Now, remember when we were listening to the audio clip with the two brethren, they talked about the origins of the Greek and their influence on the children of Israel, because I just got finished reading to you in Joel 3:6 that the children of Judah and Jerusalem, we were sold into them. Okay, so first, if you read First and Second Maccabees speak of the Maccabean revolt, we revolted against the Greek. This was under Alexander, what they call him Alexander the Great. I call him Alexander the Not So Great, and which was passed on to Antiochus Epiphanes. Now, this was during the time when the Greeks tried to impose their pagan Greek culture and their false religion of worshiping and sacrificing to their gods onto the people and the lands that they conquered. And the children of Israel, as again I just stated, they were definitely influenced by this. So they wanted to force their Greek beliefs and practices on those that they conquered. It also says in First Maccabees that Alexander, he slew all the kings of the earth, and he ruled over all the nations and the countries. So in First Maccabees 1, and I'm going to read verses 10 through 15. If you do have an apocrypha, if you can get it quickly, I'm going to read First Maccabees chapter 1, verses 10 through 15. But in this, and it states that if you read that part, it states that after Alexander's reign and death, the Antiochus Epiphanes, he arose as the king, and now he was in hostage. Actually, he was a hostage in Rome, and then he began to reign. They say in 137 year, the kingdom of the Greeks. But it states in Maccabees verse 1. I'm going to verse 11. It says, "In those days, lawless men came forth from Israel." Now, it says lawless men came forth from Israel and misled many, saying, "Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen round about us. For since we departed from them, many evils have come upon us." And in verse 14, it stated that they did according to the customs of the heathen and removed the marks of circumcision. They forsook or abandoned the set-apart covenant of Yah and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief, which means to do evil. So when you read this in 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verses 10 through 15, it stated that there were evil men in Judah and Israel who did according to the customs of the heathen. They forsook the laws of the Most High. They abandoned the covenant. They joined themselves to the heathen to do evil. Okay? They said, "Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us." And the Most High, over and over, told us, "Learn not the way of the heathen." But we see that the men of Israel wanted to not only learn the ways of the heathen, but join them and make a covenant with them. Now, this was not all of them, but there were some that were evil. We're going to talk about that in a second. I'm going to skip down. We're in 1 Maccabees chapter 1. I'm going down to verse 41, and I'm kind of setting this foundation up so you can actually see the influence that when we were sold unto them and when they came up against us, the Israelites, you can see the influence that they have had from that time all the way up till today. But in 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 41, it says, "Moreover, King Antiochus wrote this to the whole kingdom, that all should be one people." See, this is what the whole New World Order. It says that all will be one people, verse 42. "And that each should give up his laws. So all the heathen did according to the commandment of the king." Verse 43. "Many also of the Israelites consented," meaning they agreed. They say that many of the Israelites also, not all of them, but many of the Israelites consented to his religion. "They sacrificed to idols and they profaned the Sabbath." Verse 44. "For the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah." Okay, we're Judah, so-called African Americans. And he sent letters to not only to Jerusalem, but the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land. Now, when we read in 1 Maccabees chapter 2, verse 20, this is Mattathias. He refused to bow down to the king's law. And when we read in 1 Maccabees 2 and 20, he said, "Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. Yah forbid that we should forsake the laws and the ordinances. We will not hearken," meaning we will not listen to the king's word, "to go from our religion either on the right hand or the left." Now, it was said right after that there was one of Israel that sacrificed on the altar according to the king's commandments. So right after this happened, after Mattathias refused, it said right after that there was one that was in Israel that sacrificed on the altar according to the king's commandments. Now, when we talk about the Maccabean revolt, this was during a time when most don't realize that this was an all-out war between many of our people who fought against the Greeks and Hellenism. Now, pay very close when I'm speaking of Hellenism. Okay, because this is where the Hellenism and the council of these Greek, the divine nine sororities come from. They don't realize that our people were fighting against this to be able to continue to hold on to the law, statutes, and judgments of the Most High. This was a war. That's what we don't realize. Our people had an all-out war, fighting against. They were fighting against the Greeks, fighting against Hellenism. Not only that, there was a war amongst our own brethren. It wasn't just a war against the Greeks, but this was a war that was going on from within. Same thing that happened in the wilderness. When some of them wanted to obey and then others did not, and there was an all-out war, this is the same thing that was going on during this Maccabean revolt when they were revolting against the Greek, revolting against Hellenism. They were fighting against it. So not only did the ones like Mattathias that wanted to obey, he and his family, and keep the covenant, and those who were joined to him, there were, like it said, evil ones at that time in Israel that wanted to join with the heathen, wanted to join with the Greeks and sacrifice pigs on the altar and do according to the king's command. That's what we don't realize. There was a war from within. Many of our people, they stood for the laws. They were trying their best to guard the laws, the statutes, and commandments, but they also had to fight against their brethren who had become Hellenized and who were siding with the Greeks. So this is the origin of those of you who are in these Greek organizations. This is the origin of your Hellenistic council. This is the same madness that we see going on amongst Judah today. If you want to read more about this war, you can read the first and second books of Maccabees, as well as the writings of the Jewish or the historian of Josephus, and you can read more about that. But just some interesting things about the history of Rome and Greece. It says that the Romans used obelisk to adorn Alexander and Rome. These obelisks were dedicated to the gods in Rome. And it said later on the Pope rescued them and updated the symbols with Christian symbols. So this is where you get all your Christian idolatry symbols from. Okay. It said that the Roman Empire adopted the Greek language. They adopted the Greek language and their gods. It says the homosexuality and bisexuality was prevalent during that time. It says in the Greek culture, the women were considered inferior citizens and were only useful to give birth. At this time, they preferred boys. Pedophilia was running rapid. The boys were expected to take on a submissive role in a relationship with an older male until he got married. Let me see. It says as early as 200 BC, Rome by that time was heavily influenced by the Greek custom. And some of the famous bisexual rulers included Alexander the Great, and let's see, who else is in here? One of the Roman emperors, Julius Caesar, is also on this list. And it says Constantine. So, and also it talks about incest also. They say they married their relatives. So this is the stuff that was going on. This is what our brethren, those who wanted to guard the laws, those who were not wicked, because we got wicked men of Israel right now today that's teaching all kind of lies, leading our people into further sin, as we stated last week, Prina, about telling women that sex is marriage, and that's going to be next week's show. Sex does not constitute marriage. We're saying so that's, and this goes further into why. Stop arguing over who Israel, because everybody that is a blood descendant of Israel is not going to be saved, because we got some that are stiff-necked, hard-headed, just as they were in the wilderness, wicked men who still want to hold to the covenant of the Greeks. You know, many who are Israel and they want to hold on to Egypt and Kemet. And, you know, this whole, the pineal gland and the tapping into your third eye. There's going to be many of Israel that will perish, okay, because they don't believe, okay? So, we're going to listen to right now, and this is a quick clip. It's only 3 minutes. We're going to listen to. This is the X Sigma Gamma Rho, and she's going to share her testimony on how a lot of the same things. She's Haitian, and she's going to share her brief testimony on how some of the same things that her parents, she was exposed to a lot of voodoo from her parents who were not saved and who did not know Yeshua. But she said that a lot of the rituals that she saw were some of the same rituals that she saw going on when she was pledging and involved in this Black Greek sorority, Sigma Gamma Rho. So we're going to listen to her quick testimony, and we're going to come right back.
So what sorority did you join? Did you pledge?
I was a member. I was a founder on my actual campus at Florida International University of Sigma Gamma Rho sorority.
Now, what do you mean when you say founder? You mean like you founded the whole sorority, or what do you mean when you say
Well, no, the organization was founded in 1922 by 7 supposedly school teachers. But each campus, the first group that comes on the college campus, they are known as the founder. They're the ones that established the chapter on the campus. And anyone after them has to learn their history because they were the ones that set the legacy on the campus.
Wow. So you have like college students that are in the present chapter that are learning your history because...
I'm a founder.
Wow.
Exactly.
Okay. So after having pledged, after having gone through an actual sorority, how would you define a sorority?
Well, I sat down and thought of that question. If I was asked, how would I define a sorority? And I wrote down something that I came up with. And to me, a sorority or fraternity is an organized group structured through pagan belief and rituals, focused on the sole purpose of preparing young individuals to continue the legacy of secret societies through brainwashing and subliminal mind controlling.
That's a pretty tough definition. Do you view that from? Was that your personal experience? I mean, do you view that from a personal perspective? Is that something that as a scholar, as an educated person, you came to? You know, how did you come to that conclusion as a definition?
I came to that conclusion because of my background, being that I pledged the sorority. I went through the pledge process. I went through the process of pledging others. I went through the process of going to our national Boule conferences and meeting our grad chapters versus the undergrad and all the different things that I've seen. And now becoming a Christian, you know, and some of my Christian studies of what pagan rituals are. And also I grew up in a background where I was Haitian, so I did watch a lot of rituals being done in my previous, you know, growing up with my parents. So seeing some of the same rituals that my parents performed when they were not Christians and they were into, you know, a religion called voodoo, and seeing that in my sorority, you know, really perplexed me because it was the same.
So you saw some of the same things in the sorority's rituals as you did growing up?
Yes, correctly with God, or even attempt to walk correctly with God and be in a fraternity sorority because of the undergraduate, the social aspect of it. It's just so into the world of partying, clubbing, drinking, promiscuity, and the graduate level of it, that's when you really get heavy into the rituals. And can you get out of it? Of course you can, because by the blood of Christ, I got out of it. You know, I denounced it. What does denouncing mean? I called them up, and I told them that I did not want to be in an organization. I wrote them a letter, an official letter, stating, I, Helene Prevost, do not want to be a part of your organization or have anything to do with your organization. And that day I made that phone call, I spoke to one of the graduate chapters. She said, what are you talking about? Why don't you want to, if you don't mind me asking, why don't you want to be a part of our organization? I said, because it's not of Christ. She said, but we have pastors and preachers that are in fraternity sororities. And I said to her, I'll pray for them too. That was my final comment. You know, fraternity sororities is definitely not of God. And I wrote something, a very quick, brief thing that I wanted to share with anyone that's listening. How can you call yourself a Christian when clearly majority of your rituals come from pagan Egyptian and Greek gods? How can you use the title sisterhood and brotherhood God? Because if it ain't a part of you, you don't treat me or them like your brother and sister. How can you say you believe in education when statistics shows that over 70% of undergraduate GPA drop in the first year of pledging? How can you say community service when you're united under National Pan-Hellenic Council to unite all blacks, when your organization was founded to destroy the black race further from accepting themselves as black? However, by calling yourself Greek, last time I checked, the Greeks came into Africa and raped it and robbed it of its wealth and history.
Okay. So she basically is saying the same thing. You know, we're worried about, we're trying to join a Greek organization when they came in, like she said, and we were raped. The Greek letter organizations, like she was saying, that many fraternities and sororities have adopted, this is just another way to keep the children of Israel, especially Judah, the so-called African American, confused. And I believe the brother said this also. It's just another way to keep us confused, to keep us enslaved, to keep us unconscious to the fact of who we really are. You know, they fear the children of Israel waking up, as my sister said earlier. They fear us waking up from being those Ezekiel 37 dry bones that was prophesied to return into the Most High. They fear that. So as long as, and Satan doesn't care who you serve and what God you serve or how you serve, as long as he know you're not serving the one true power, Most High Yah, he doesn't care. All the other ones don't even matter. His whole MO is to kill, steal, destroy, pull you away from the Most High. Well, he'll put everything in front of you that looks appealing, sounds appealing, feels appealing, tastes appealing, so that you can be drawn to that. That's why you can't get caught up in your feelings and your emotions, because Yah's not filled with emotions and feelings. You can't serve Yah on your emotions. You can't get caught up in what you see because it looks good. He says all that's in the world is the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. And so if they don't care about us joining, I mean, when you really think about it, how many people who have joined these organizations really thought about, this is a Greek organization. What am I doing joining this? What you can't, when I reveal some of the different gods and some of the things that they had to say to be a part of, you have to wonder, if you are really a true believer, you have to be in some kind of turmoil or some kind of pull or tug to say, you know what, this is just not right. You know, I wrote a commentary about this 2 years ago. And the reason why I was led to do this, because recently, you know, I saw a lot of people posting things saying, you know, happy Founders Day, you know, to all the Greek organizations and Kappa and, you know, Zeta Phi Beta, Sigma Gamma. I'm seeing all these different people post, you know, happy Founders Day, but what you need to realize, your founder is Satan. That's your founder. And so I'm going to briefly read this here. I said, these secret societies are direct offsprings of higher satanic organizations and fraternal orders. The primary fraternal order that started all black Greek sororities and fraternities is the Freemason Masonic Lodge, which is historically known to be of Satan worship. These wolf-praying organizations seek to groom hopeful, unknowing initiates and then place them in positions of control to fulfill the mandate that the organization was created to do. The activities and requirements of these black Greek organizations cause prospective members and members alike to knowingly and unknowingly enter into ungodly pacts and covenants. Although the organizations appear harmless and light in nature by their community service and networking abilities, this light, however, is a false light. Once one gets deeply involved into the pledging process, they are asked to participate in all types of self-degrading, ungodly practices that include physical abuse, fornication, adultery, lying, hatred, envy, strife, manipulation, abominable sexual activities, and witchcraft. Many are even asked to mark or brand themselves or others to show their allegiance to their fraternity or sorority. Unfortunately, though, many initiates are so desperate to belong and join to these Black Greek letters organizations that they're willing to do any and everything to become a member. However, what many who seek to join these organizations don't realize is they are founded and they're deeply rooted in darkness. These organizations attract people who are looking for something that only our Messiah, Yeshua, can provide, which is purpose in life. The Greek letter fraternities and sororities, without a doubt, have serious Masonic influences and roots because of their original founders were Masons and Eastern Stars. Many of our early civil rights leaders and social activists belonged to one of the Divine Nine organizations, and they were Freemasons. However, the Masons are more discreet. It is not permissible for them to recruit and establish interest meetings on college campuses. You have to ask one to be one, and recruiting is not allowed. Most of your top-level Black leaders, even today, are Freemasons. The Masons understand that many who pledge Greek letter fraternities and sororities will eventually make their way to the Masonic Lodge. They say it's a natural progression. The college fraternities and sorority members have gone through a similar process of what the Masons and the Eastern Stars go through. For example, they understand the meaning of secrecy, like the handshake, words, symbols, signs, and most importantly, they know how important it is to protect the ancient process from the uninitiated and the non-pleasures. Unknowingly, many of you look up to and take great pride in these demonic organizations and have no idea that these Black Greek, and there are secret societies, and I'm calling it what it is, but many of you have no idea that these Black Greek secret societies are throwing up all kinds of demonic hand signs like the all-seeing eye pyramid, the Baphomet, and the sixth sign, which represents Satan himself. For many of you who do not know, the emblem for the Masons and the Eastern Star is the Baphomet, which is none other than Lucifer himself. And this is a lot of brainwashing that go on in these organizations. On many of their shields, we see that they have a skull and a crossbone. Now, if you don't know what that is, a skull and a crossbone represents death. And it's also a symbol that they use on things that are poison. So you have to think, if a skull and crossbone is a symbol or on our shield, and I know that this represents death, and this is also a symbol that they use on poison. Something that's poisonous is something that you need to stay away from. This is a warning, but we go on anyway. You know, these organizations, they were set in place to keep us in bondage. They keep us in bondage to sin and idolatry, which is adultery, and it breaks the first and second commandment. And what's interesting is one of the people that I knew that was putting up Happy Founders Day to their sorority at the same time, not too long weeks ago, they had a Baphomet. They brought the Baphomet here, the statue. I think it was like 13 feet here in Detroit. For I don't know how many weeks it was here. I don't think it's here anymore. But this was the same person that posted this and put up the picture of the Baphomet saying how this is a shame that they allow Satan to come here. But you don't realize that this is the same statue or that represents your Greek letter organization, Satan and Lucifer. They don't understand that. And so this is the reason why I'm doing this show, because you can't separate from part of Satan and then join some of the other things that are Satan. And then, you know, this is what he say. This is the way of a wicked woman. She eats and then spits out the bone, wipes her mouth and say, I have done no wickedness. You can't wipe your hands and say, I have done no wickedness if you still partake. It doesn't matter if you spit out the bone. If you still have partaken of that which was sacrificed to an idol, you still wicked. So you have to find out what is pleasing and acceptable to the Most High, and then you have to, if it's something that is not of Him, then like the woman said in the video, she had to denounce Sigma Gamma Rho. You have to come out of it. You can't have your foot, one foot in and one foot out. What did the Most High, I'm getting ready to read some quick scriptures here. What did the Most High say about pledging and swearing and taking oaths, especially those swearing and pledging and joining to do wicked, as we were reading in Maccabees earlier, where there were some in Israel that said, let us go make a covenant with the heathen. What is the Most High? Let's read some scriptures about pledging, swearing, and taking oaths and joining yourself with those to do wicked. I'm going to read this quickly. Matthew 5:36 and 37. Yeshua said, neither shall you swear by your head, because you are not able to make one hair white or black. But let your yes be yes or your no be no. He says anything more than these is evil. So we're not supposed to be going around saying, I swear. We're not supposed to be swearing. Because he says you can't make one hair on your head white or black. He says, just say yes or no. Don't say, I swear. If you say you're going to do something, then say, yes, I'll do it. Or no, I'm not. He said, but anything else, he said, is evil. Proverbs 1 and 10, he says, my son, if sinners entice you, he says, do not be willing. Deuteronomy 13:6 and 8. I'm sorry, 6 through 8. Deuteronomy 13, verse 6 reads, if your brother, your mother's son, or your daughter, or the wife of your bosom, or your friend who is as your own soul, shall entice you secretly, saying, let us go and serve other gods, which you have not known, you and your fathers, of the gods of the people around you, those near you or far off from you, from one end of the earth, even to the other end of the earth. He says, you shall not consent with him. He says, you shall not join him, nor listen to him, nor shall you have pity on him, nor shall you spare or hide him. Verse 9, Deuteronomy 13 and 9. But you shall surely kill him. Your hand shall be first upon him to cause him to die, and the hand of all the people last. He says, you shall stone him with stones, and he shall die. For he sought to drive you out from Yah, your power. So he says that there's someone who says, come to you and entice you secretly. This is what happens when you're in these Greek letter sororities and fraternities. Everything is a secret. Like with the Mason, he said you got to know one to be one. They have to ask you. When they ask you to come and join, we're going to find out in a minute, because I'm going to name all the different gods. For each sorority, I'm going to name the sorority, and I'm going to list the god that each one serves. You can't join them secretly to go serve other gods. Like the gentleman said in the clip that we were listening to. You can't serve two masters. You're going to either love one or hate the other. You join the one over there. You're not going to be able to serve two. You can't be on both sides of the fence. But he says you shall stone them. And with verse 11, he says, why? He says, so that all Israel shall hear and fear, and shall not again do any such wicked thing as this among you. So what do you think is going on when someone comes to you and asks you to join these sororities and fraternities, enticing you secretly, saying, let us go and serve other gods? Leviticus 19 and 4 says, do not turn to idols, and you shall not make molten gods for yourselves. I am Yah, your father. Every last one of these sororities and fraternities, what they call the Divine Nine, every last one of them have idols and molten gods that they serve. They have them on their shields, and we're going to go over it in a minute. But Yah, they're doing the very thing that Yah told us to not do. Leviticus 5:1 through 4, it says, if a soul sins and hear the voice of swearing, and as a witness, whether you've seen it or known of it, if he does not utter it, meaning don't tell it, he shall bear his iniquity. And I'm going to read what it says, the same thing. I'm going to read the Hebrew Bible, Hebrew, Leviticus 5, verses 1 and verse 4. It says that when a person sins and hears the voice of swearing and he is a witness to it, that means you're a witness to it. You've seen it or you know it. He says if you don't reveal it, mean to expose it, you're going to bear that iniquity if you don't. He says if a person swears, speaking rashly with the lips to do evil or to do good, anything which the man speaks rashly with an oath, and it is hidden from him, and he knows it, he says he is guilty of one of these. He says, it shall not be when he is guilty of one of these. Then he shall confess that which he has sinned. 1 Corinthians 15, 33 and 34, it says, be not deceived. Evil communication corrupt good manners. Awake to righteousness and fear not. For some have not the knowledge of Yah. He said, I speak this to your shame. The Hebrew root says, do not be led astray. He said, bad companionship ruin good habits. So you can't continue to be around people who are wicked and evil, as it says in 1 Corinthians 33 and 34, and not be influenced. He said eventually it's going to start trickling on to you. 2 Corinthians 6, 14 through 18, it says, be you not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what partnership does righteousness have with lawlessness? What fellowship does light have with darkness? What agreement does the Messiah have with Satan? What part does a believer have with an unbeliever? What harmony has the sanctuary of Yah with idols? For you are the sanctuary of the living Yah, even as it is said, I will dwell in them and will walk among them, and I will be their almighty one, and they shall be my people. Because of this, he says, come out from among them and be set apart. Do not touch any unclean thing, he says, and I will receive you. So he says that what does the sanctuary of Yah have to do with idols? We are now his sanctuary. We are now his building. We are now his temple. We are the temple that he lives in, not a church building. We are his building now. So if we are his sanctuary that he's going to walk and dwell among, how is he going to dwell in you and abide in you and you got idols in your heart? He said, what does the sanctuary of Yah, that's talking to you. If you claiming that you are the sanctuary of the Most High, that you are of him, you claiming that you know him, and you are still attached to a black Greek fraternity or sorority. He says, how can you be my sanctuary and have idols attached to you? There are idols attached to these Greek letter organizations. Every last one serves a different God. As I said earlier, Satan is not going to care which God you serve as long as it's not the one true power, Yah. He doesn't care. Yah said, because of this, because my sanctuary does not dwell with idols, because those of you who say you are of him and you keep his law, you can't reside with those that are lawless. What do you have in common? What does the Messiah have in common with Satan? What does the sanctuary of Yah, that's you, have to do with idols? What does Yah have to do with the pagan Greek gods that are associated with your sororities and fraternities? He says nothing. Therefore, he says, come out. In verse 17, 2 Corinthians 6 and 17 says, because of this, come out from among them and be set apart. Separate your Bibles may say separate yourself. Be separate. Be set apart. He's not going to receive you, he says in verse 17, until you do. Matthew 6:24, this is what the brethren said earlier in the first clip we listened to. He said, no one can serve two masters. He said, either you will hate one and love the other, or you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both Yah and money. You can't serve both. You got to make a choice. Psalms 1:1, blessed is the man who has not walked in the counsel of the wicked, the ungodly, and has not stood in the way of sinners, and has not sat in the seat of the scornful. If you're in these sororities and fraternities, you are doing just what the Most High says. You're not blessed. He says only those who do not walk in the counsel of the wicked or the ungodly, who do not stand in the way of sinners. If you are part of those organizations, part of those sororities and fraternities, you are an idolater. And we know that no idolater will see the kingdom of Yah. You are also an adulterer, and we know that no adulterer will see the kingdom of Yah. You're breaking the first and second commandment. You cannot love the Most High Yah with all your heart, mind, and soul and be connected to Greek gods at the same time. You have to separate yourself. Even if you did not know, after today, you should know, and then you got to repent of this. Because it's like this, we've already heard two clippings. They've already told you this is the reason why they came out, because the Most High showed them this is not of me. Many of you, the Most High has probably already spoken to you, but you're stiff-necked and you don't want to come out of it because you love your Greek sororities, brothers and sisters, more than you love the Most High. That's who you consider to be your brother, the brotherhood and the sisterhood of AKA or Alpha, Kappa Alpha Psi or Omega Psi Phi, all these sororities and fraternities. That's who you consider your brother and your sister. But what does the Most High say? If the members in these organizations are your brothers and sisters, then who is the mother and the father behind these sororities and fraternities? If the ones that are in it with you, if those are your brothers and sisters, who's the mother? Who's the father? Who's the parents of it? The answer is the false god that you're serving and that you're pledging your allegiance and your loyalty to. What did Yeshua say? Who did Yeshua say is your brother, your sister? Matthew 12, verses 48 through 50. But Yeshua answered and said unto him that told him, Yeshua said, who is my mother? Who is my brother? And he stretched forth his hand towards his disciples who were following him and said, behold, my mother and my brethren. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother, my sister, and my mother. We're not talking about blood, brothers, and sisters. He said, when you come into the truth of Yah, your family are those that are doing the will of Yah. Because many of your blood descendant brothers and sisters that you grew up with are going to be turning you in when all of this stuff unfolds. Because they already think you in a cult anyway. They're going to be thinking, like he said, that they're doing righteous deeds unto Yah. They're going to be thinking they're doing a good deed by turning you in because they think that you're crazy and you're in a cult. But they're going to be working against the very thing that the Most High set in place. Ephesians 5:11 tells us to have no fellowship with the unfruitful deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. So that's what we're doing here today. We're exposing the unfruitful deeds of darkness that goes on in these black Greek letter sororities and fraternities. Ephesians 5:12 says, for it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. But all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light. For whatsoever you do maketh manifest is light. And the precept to that is coming from Proverbs 29:16, which says, when the wicked are multiplied, transgression increases, but the righteous shall see their fall. So when the wicked are multiplied, when the wicked come together and you join yourself to these Greek letter fraternities and sororities, you are multiplied together to cause transgression, which is sin or lawlessness, to increase. Isaiah 28:15, with the children of Israel and those who were in it, he says that they both, we have made a covenant with death and with hell, and we are at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us, for we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood we have hid ourselves. So many of them know that this is pagan, Many of them know that this is idolatry, and there are many who are wicked, who are not serving Yah. They don't care. They serve Satan, the ones who started this from the beginning. They knew what they were doing when they instituted these things, right? Shortly after all of the historical black colleges came into existence, then these Greek letter organizations came in right after that. Where do you think they got that from? You know, they have been, since we came here, okay, making sure that crafty counsel that was taken against us to make sure that we no longer remember that we Israel. That was a whole plan from the beginning, and it's still going on now. So we're gonna listen to this quick clip on the secrecy of this idolatry that goes on within this, and we're going to come right back.
In Deuteronomy 13, the God of creation basically is warning his people that there will be those within their own ranks, within their own social groups, who will entice them secretly to go and worship other gods. That is exactly what the Greek lettered organization does. Its rituals are secret. Its symbols are secret. Its books and literature, they're secret. Even on their websites, there's a secret login. There's a login only for the members, only for the initiated, only for those who have crossed the sands, those who have actually pledged. These people are secret societies. They're under the umbrella of darkness. Anytime you are keeping something a secret from those that are uninitiated, anytime you are going through spiritual rituals, and you might not think that these rituals are spiritual, but you don't realize that you are spiritual. And when you do these rituals, when you say these oaths and you commit these acts, that you are emitting, you're releasing spiritual energy and spiritual power. I've been in settings where I've seen different organizations, different Greek-lettered organizations, go through different dance routines or different rituals, ceremonial rituals. And I asked the Lord, I said, Lord, what is it about this thing that makes it so significant? What is it? And the Lord began to minister to me and let me know, hey, look, when they get together and sing this sweetheart song, or when they say these chants, they are releasing energy. The question is, unto whom are they releasing this energy? Who is being summoned by this energy? Well, you're the servants of whom you obey. So if you are obeying your own desires, if you're obeying the organization, if you're obeying some spirit that is not the Spirit of God, then you are obeying and Lucifer, sing songs unto Delta, unto Omega, unto Zeta, unto Alpha, unto any of that. So the organization does have secret meetings. It does have secret oaths. It does have secret gatherings. And in those secret gatherings, they supposedly reveal to the initiate the way of the world. And Deuteronomy says that that's going to happen. And it doesn't matter who it is that encourages you to do that. It doesn't matter if it's your pastor that's a Greek. It doesn't matter if it's your mother. It doesn't matter if it's your son. It doesn't matter if it's your physical or social brother. It doesn't matter who it is that is trying to encourage you to join this secret society. It's saying do not consent to him. Don't agree with him. And in the Old Covenant, it says to kill him. Now, what does that mean in the New Covenant? It means to separate from him and essentially to rebuke him. The Bible says don't have fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness or secrecy or the hidden way of the wicked and of the ungodly. It says don't have any fellowship with them. It says that you should rather instead reprove or rebuke or correct him. You should rebuke the person that wants to invite you to one of these intake meetings. You should rebuke the person that's encouraging you to become a Mason or encouraging you to become a part of these secret societies. These societies do not honor the true God of the Bible, although they might say that they do. on an external or superficial level. This says that they're going to try to encourage you to worship the gods that are around you. What kind of gods? The Egyptian gods, the Greek gods, the Roman gods. These are the false gods that we see promoted, and these are the false gods that we hear oaths being pledged to in the secret societies known as Sunday. And as a matter of fact, we do charitable works. We do good deeds. My fraternity is based on Christian principles, many of them would say. But verse 19 says, and this is the condemnation that light, transparency, light is come into the world, and men loved darkness. They loved secrecy. They loved doing the rituals at night. They loved doing the probate stuff at night. They loved doing the meetings at night. They loved keeping their meetings secret. They loved keeping their oaths and their ritual books secret because their deeds were evil. Their deeds are evil. That's why they love darkness. It says in verse 20, for everyone that does evil hates the light, hates to do the stuff in the daytime, hates to do the stuff where everybody can see it, hates to have their books available to people, their rituals available to people, their symbols available to the knowledge of everybody. And the sad thing is, those on the bottom of the organization have absolutely no true knowledge of those who are on the top of the organization, the organizational leaders. They don't realize. People believe that just because they've pledged that they have full knowledge of their organization, not realizing that only the Spirit of God can give a person full knowledge of what he's involved in. Not joining the organization, not pledging, not knowing even the ritual books. It's the Spirit of God, just like in Ezekiel 8, that will take you into inner chambers by visions and by the Spirit and show you the works that these organizations are doing at their elitist level, at the highest level.
Right. Like you said, they want to do everything in secret. Everything is done in the dark at nighttime. And, you know, in him there is no darkness. You know, many of these people who join these organizations, they've made a covenant with death and they don't know it. And, you know, as he says, fraternities and sororities, they're not at the Most High. All of them, you know, every last one of them is just a subtle tool that was created by Satan himself to draw people into more idolatrous worship of pagan deities. And like he said, many of you, you know, are in it and you don't even realize it. And all of them, every last one, as we're going to read in a minute, all of them can be traced back to a Greek idol god. And these were forbidden in Scripture. You can't, you know, like I said before, you can't serve Yah and your Greek god because they worship many gods. And the fact that everything that these sororities and fraternities are, where they originate from, it just tells you that this is a clear sign that this is something that our people, you know, who are the ones who enter into a covenant with our Most High should stay away from. You know, we talk about an idol, and the gentleman in the first clip we heard, they told us what an idol is. I'm just going to recap again. It means the devotion, service, agreement with, or worship rendered to a false god or material image. And Strong Concordance 1497 says an image or worship by a heathen god or worship of such. And so just a brief history of the so-called Divine Nine. The Black Greek Letter Organization, as I said earlier, they're under this umbrella of the they call it the Pan-Hellenic Council. Now, anything that got hell in it, if you're a believer, that should just be a red flag right away. This is not something that I should be involved in. But they're under this is the umbrella that all of these Greek letter organizations, they call them the Divine Nine. They're under the Pan-Hellenic Council. And as I stated early, this was the same thing that was going on with the Greeks. This is where this stuff comes from. It dates back to the Hellenic Republic or the modern Greek state period. And this was during, I would say it dated back to 2800 to 1100 BC. Now, this Pan-Hellenic Council is deeply rooted and wicked deeds, and both ancient and modern Greek, paganistic in origin. Again, the Most High told us in Hosea 4:6 that his people perish for lack of knowledge. At that time, as I stated in the very beginning when I gave you the foundation in 1st and 2nd Maccabees, and this is what's so interesting is that 1st and 2nd Maccabees gives our people the history of where their Greek letter organizations derive from. This is what it's like, and this is, like he said, uninspired people who took out the Apocrypha because it was supposed to have been there, it was there before. But why do you think they removed that? Because the book of Maccabees, it really tells how our people fought to keep the laws, statutes, and judgments of the Most High, and how many of them went to their death keeping the statutes. They didn't care even if they had to die for it. That's what they were going to do. And so this Hellenistic council, like I said, it falls under the Greek culture, which was under the direct enforcement of Alexander. I call him Alexander the Not So Great, and during his Hellenistic civilization time. And something that's interesting is I want to go into Greece. Greece sits between Italy and Turkey. And the island of Patmos, Patmos, sits right above the Mediterranean Sea between Greece and Turkey. Now, Revelations 2:11-13 tells us that, and this is a Messiah who's actually speaking here, that the island of Patmos is where Satan's literal throne resided. And so I'm going to read this here, Revelations 2:11-13. It says, "He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death. And to the angel of the church in Pergamos write, these things said he which hath the sharp sword with two edges. I know thy works, and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is, and thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith, even in those days wherein Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you, where Satan dwells." So how does this type of ancient Greek worship of pagan gods and goddesses trickle down to the Black Greek fraternities and sororities? Now, we can think, I don't know if any of you have ever heard of what's called the boule. You can do some research. It's spelled Boule, the boule. And many Black celebrities and politicians and what they call the social elite are a part of the boule. Okay, and so they're the ones that are responsible for this influence that was passed on to these Black colleges. But the boule is basically, it's a legislative council of advisors appointed to handle the daily affairs of ancient Greece. And these were people who were advisors to the king. Now, what king we talking about? We read this in 1st and 2nd Maccabees, King Alexander and Antiochus Epiphanes. If you take a look, when you Google the boule, Boule, when you take a look at the boule's logo, you will see the tetragrammaton. You will see 9 squares, 8 being the first 4 Black frats. Okay, so you'll see on out of the 9 squares, the first 8 will be the first 4, which was the Alpha Phi Alpha, the Kappa Alpha Psi, Omega Psi Phi, which they call them Q dolls, and the Phi Beta Sigmas. And the first 4 Black sororities, which was the AKAs, the Delta Sigma Theta, the Zeta Phi Betas, and the Sigma Gamma Rho. The 9th square, which is the center square, is the father of the Black Greek letter organization, and that is the Boule. And recently, I saw many people that I know were posting different things about Happy Founders Day and, about the Boule. This is when they all come together, and it's through the Boule's founding members do we find those who not only idolize the monstrous acts of Alexander, but the Masons as well. And Scripture tells us, how can two walk unless they agree? So if you're in this, you have made an agreement or a covenant, but you have made it with death. So now I told you earlier we were going to talk about the pagan gods that each one is associated with. Well, now this is that time. So we're going to talk about what pagan god or goddesses that each of these organizations are affiliated with or associated with or pay homage to, and these are in their ritual books. And I'm going to tell you, but these are all the gods that they worship. The Alpha Phi Alpha, okay, this is a fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. They honor the Sphinx of Gaza found in Egypt. So they honor the Sphinx god. The Sphinx were idol gods worshipped by the Egyptians. So how does the Most High feel about the Sphinx and other Egyptian idols? Well, Ezekiel 20:7 says, get rid of the vile images you have set your eyes on, and do not defile yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am the Most High, your Father. So we see the Most High say, get rid of these vile images. Do not defile yourself with the idols of Egypt. All of these gods that I'm getting ready to name for all, and we just did the first fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, okay? All of their gods are Egyptian gods. So I don't need to read any more scriptures or precepts after this, because the Most High has already said, get rid of your vile images in Ezekiel 27. And he says, do not defile yourself with the idols of Egypt. All 9 of these gods that I'm getting ready to read to you, these are all Egyptian gods. And the Most High he told his people, the children of Israel, don't defile yourself with the idols of Egypt. So, again, Alpha Phi Alpha, the god they serve and worship is the Sphinx god. And that's spelled SPHINX. Kappa Alpha Psi, these are the Kappas, the fraternity. They honor the god Thoth, THOTH. Also, the Ibis, god of wisdom. Also, the god Apollo. The sacred Delphic shrine is for Apollo, the sun god, and Apollo is the sun god. This temple actually exists to this day and is still in modern day Greece. So this temple to Apollo is actually the temple that still exists to this day. So the Kappas, they have 1, 2, 3, 4 gods that looks like they're Thoth, Ibis, the god of wisdom, god Apollo, and the sacred Delphic shrine. Okay. Omega Psi Phi, they call them the Q dogs. Ricky Smiley is a Q dog, and so is Shaquille O'Neal. Just to name a couple that I can think of that are Q dogs, so they call them Omega Psi Phi. They serve the god Anubis and the goddess Omega. The pledge comes to Omega to swear allegiance to her cause and to dedicate their lives to the service of Omega. So this is things that they have to actually say, that they swear their allegiance to Omega and that they dedicate their lives to the service of Omega. This is what they have to say. Now, how can you say that and then still say you following Yah? How can you pledge your allegiance to another God and Yah at the same time when he says don't have no other gods before me? Next one, this is the fourth one out of the 9. Phi Beta Sigma. They serve the Egyptian goddess Horus, okay, a.k.a. the Egyptian falcon god, and the goddess Phallus Athena, the goddess of wisdom, art, and industry. So we see they got a couple of gods going on here. Let's do the AKAs. This is a sorority, the Alpha Kappa Alpha. They serve the goddess Katesh. It's spelled Qetesh, and that was a Semitic nature goddess. So they serve a nature goddess. Delta, well, Sigma Theta Delta, they serve the goddess Minerva, okay, a.k.a. Isis. Does that ring a bell? The Delta serve the goddess Minerva, a.k.a. Isis, a.k.a. Astra, Ishtar. This is in the scriptures over and over. This is, she had many names. This is who the Deltas serve. Minerva, Isis. Zeta Phi Beta sorority, they serve the ancient Egyptian goddess Bastet, which is half cat, and that's pronounced, and it's spelled Bastat, Bastet. Half cat, half woman, or half cow and half woman. The initiates of Zeta are called archons, and archons is a word defined as one of 9 lawgivers of Athens, Greece. Now these the lawgivers are Athens, Greece. These are the same what I just was telling you about the boule. That's what they call the boule. And the boule, they call their biannual conferences the boule. This is where that stuff come from. The next one, the Sigma Gamma Rho. They serve the goddess Mayat. It's pronounced Mayat, and it's spelled M-A'-A-T. M-A'-A-T is pronounced Mayat. Now, when you look at the bottom of their shield, you see a skull with crossbones in it, just like the skull and bones. So why would a woman's organization have a skull and a crossbone on their crest? Why wouldn't it have something dainty like flowers or, something like that? Why would you have a skull and a crossbone? Get my words together today. That represents death. And the last one, the 9th one of the Divine 9, what they call them is Iota Phi Theta Fraternity, IOTA. And they are associated with the god Cheiron, Cheiron, which is half man and half horse. So the children of Israel were commanded to renounce their false gods and the false idols of Egypt. In Ezekiel 27:8, when he says, "Then I, Yah, said unto them, cast you away every man the abominations of your eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt." I'm going to say it again. He says, cast away every man the abomination of your eyes. Do not defile yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am the Most High, your power. But they didn't listen. They didn't put away the idols of Egypt. Many of you are going to listen to this show that are in a sorority fraternity, and you're going to tune out everything that I'm saying. You're not going to pay attention to any of the testimonies from the former sorority and fraternity members. You're going to ignore all the scriptures, and you're going to continue to serve the idols of Egypt, even though the Most High told you to get rid of them. He says in verse 8, they didn't listen. Ezekiel 20:8, he says, but they rebelled against me and would not hearken unto me, meaning they didn't listen. He said they did not. They did not. Every man cast away the abominations of their eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of Egypt. Then said I, Yah, he said, I will pour out my fury on them to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. So Yah said they would not do it. They would not put away the abominations and they would not forsake the idols of Egypt. Like I said, many of you who are in these fraternities and sororities will swear before Yeshua when he come, I cast out demons in your name, I prophesied in your name, I did this in your name. He's going to say, depart from me, I never knew you. You're going to say, but what about all the charity work my organization did and we fed the homeless? You do not need to be attached, as a brethren said in the first clip we listened to be able to be a good member of society, to help others that are in need. If it is something that is not of the Most High, you have to come out of it. The Most High has told you to put away the idols of Egypt. I have just read off every Egyptian god. Some of these fraternities and sororities had 2, 3, 4 gods. Egypt gods that they were serving. It doesn't matter if it has one God, half a God. He said to put away your idols of Egypt. Don't make molten graven images. All of them have images to the idols. Just look up the sororities and look up their shield and look what it'll have their molten image God, and it'll tell you the name that they each serve. We're going to listen to this quick clip. This is a woman who was an ex-Delta. And she's going to tell you how you cannot serve Yah and be in a sorority and fraternity at the same time.
We can only be totally devoted to one God. We can only truly love one God. And if there's anything that is not like Him in us, our relationship with Him can and will be hindered. I can't love and worship Minerva, a false goddess, and love and worship my Father, the true God, too. Vowing and keeping covenant with Delta is vowing and keeping covenant with all that it is, including the false goddess Minerva. Yes, it is. Lighting the torch of wisdom, the wisdom that Delta pays homage to the false goddess Minerva for, is an offense against the true God, because any and all true wisdom can only come from Him. How dare those who say they love and honor the true God acknowledge the false goddess Minerva as some bearer of light and giver of wisdom? God-fearers and worshipers have good sense because of Him. We can see because of Him by His Spirit. We have understanding because of Him. With Him are wisdom and might. To Him belong counsel and understanding. For the Lord gives wisdom. From His mouth come knowledge and understanding. God made the earth by His power. He established the world by His wisdom, and by His understanding and skill stretched out the heavens. But if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to men, all men, generously and without reproach, and it will be given to him. We are simply fooling ourselves if we think the only true and living God has somehow changed since the days of the Old Covenant. He is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. There is no way the Lord God would or could approve of individuals who call themselves His children, lighting candles and paying homage to the false goddess Minerva and all the other false gods or goddesses attached to all of the Greek letter organizations and secret societies. Can you imagine the King of Kings who will return, our powerful Savior and Lord who is the vine we are to be connected to, making vows to, and keeping covenant with one of these organizations? No way. You know it, and I know it. Well, if we, those who profess to be the branches, are abiding in the vine, then to be attached to anything that is not like Him would be very uncomfortable and nearly impossible. So, either you're abiding in the vine or you are not. There is no in between. You cannot, there's absolutely no way to totally abide in the true vine and totally abide in Delta and its goddess simultaneously.
Okay, so there you have it. She was an ex-Delta, and how she came out in some of her earlier testimonies was she said that someone she asked someone, I guess someone who used to be in a sorority, was she going to a meeting or something, and she said, no, I denounced that, and she asked her, may I ask you why? This was prior, she said this was just prior to the fact that the Most High had started tugging at her spirit about some things and started showing her some things, but she still wasn't quite sure. And so when she asked this young woman, are you going to the meeting? She said, no, I denounced it. And she said, well, may I ask you why? And she said, because it's not of the Most High. And so she said at that moment, that's when she started saying, okay, a lot of times God will place people in your path, and he'll be pricking you in your spirit about some things that you may not feel that same ease and comfort participating in, or things that you used to do and have peace doing. You'll start not having that same kind of peace to do and participate in certain things that you were doing before. And that's how you know that he's renewing your heart and he's changing you and giving you a clean heart and renewing a right spirit in you, because those things that you used to do when you used to do them and you had peace with it, you don't have that same peace and comfort. So she was just thinking about how when this woman told her she denounced it and why, because it wasn't of him, she said she kind of immediately attributed it back to the things that she had been feeling and how she felt like the Most High was tugging at her heart. So, many people think that they can't come out, but as you see from the previous four people that we listened to that were in various sororities and fraternities, they did come out, and they all said they had to denounce it. Y'all told us, to come out from among them. You got to come out of her, my people. How does one show a repentant heart and come out? Because we're at the end now. I'm going to read this 2 Kings chapter 22. If you can go there quickly, we're going to read about King Hosea and his voluntary act, which tell of what he did after he learned that he had greatly sinned against the Most High. And Judah, just like Israel, even today, had left the ways of the Most High, and they became engaged in serious idolatrous worship of pagan gods, and Yah's face at that time was against him. And in 2 Kings chapter 23, verses 5 through 12, King Josiah, he did the following after he learned that he had sinned against Yah. So we're getting ready to read here in 2 Kings chapter 23, verses 5 through 12. This is what King Josiah did after he learned that he had sinned against Yah. It says in 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 5, and he put down the idolatrous priests whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah and in the places round about Jerusalem. Them also that burn incense unto Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the hosts of heaven. And he brought out the grove from the house of the Most High without Jerusalem unto the brook Kidron, and burned it, and at the brook Kidron, and stamped it small to powder, and cast the powder thereof upon the grave of the children of the people. Verse 7, and he broke down the houses of the Sodomites that were by the house of the Most High, where the women were hanging from the grove. Verse 10, and he defiled Topheth, which is in the valley of the children of Hinnom, that no man might make his son or daughter to pass through the fire. That means not to sacrifice their children to Molech. Verse 12, and the altars that were on top of the upper chambers of Ahaz, which the kings of Judah had made, and the altars which Manasseh had made in the two courts of the house of the Most High, did the king beat down. He broke them down from thence and cast the dust of them into the brook Kidron. Verse 14, and he broke in the pieces of the images. He cut down the groves and filled their places with the bones of men. So basically, when we read this, we see in a nutshell that King Josiah left no stone unturned when it came to showing the Most High how sorry he was and how committed he was to serving the Most High and only him. He destroyed any and everything that was not of Yah or contributed to idol worship. He made a pledge to honor the Most High Yah only. What we just read and what King Josiah did is exactly what Yah expects for us to do when we have learned that we have sinned against him. The same kind of commitment, the same kind of affection, the same kind of zeal that the members of these organizations give to these black Greek letter societies and pagan god and goddesses is the same type of commitment that they should be given to the only giver of life. Okay, as the woman said, Minerva is not a giver of life. There's only one giver of life, and that is our Creator, the Most High Yah. For those of you who are in this, if you're listening to this, I hope you get offended into salvation. I hope you are offended. Be offended enough to study to show yourself approved. Be offended enough to care about where your soul leaves where your soul goes when you leave this earth. We're here to expose everything that's of Satan as the Most High gives it to us, as we have the understanding of it, as we come into the revelation of it, and we're going to bring it forth. We're not getting ready to know that the sins that are going on and the things that are going on amongst our people and then remain quiet. Your silence is not golden. We have to expose it. Some of you are going to have to learn the truth, and if you say you truly love him, then show him you love him just as King Josiah did. You're going to have to destroy everything. You're going to have to denounce it, as the lady said. If you're affiliated with these organizations, you know what I'm talking about. That same type of zeal that led you to believe that you somehow wouldn't be complete without belonging to one of these organizations, you're going to have that same zeal when it comes to walking this walk out in truth, in spirit and truth. Those who worship him, he says, must worship him in spirit and truth. You are not worshiping him in spirit and truth if you're attached to the Egyptian gods and idols that he told you to put away. You can't serve two masters. He made it clear in Exodus 20:3, the first commandment. He said, thou shalt have no other gods before my face. He made it clear that he is a jealous God and that he will not share his worship with any other. His high esteem, he's not going to share with any other. He's not getting ready to share his light and his glory with Minerva or Isis. Or the Sphinx, the Egyptian goddess, or Apollo. He's not going to do it. 1 John 5:21, he told us to keep ourselves from idols. We were warned to keep ourselves from idols. So what do you think you're doing when you are directly linked to an organization that honors pagan idol gods, the same idol gods of Egypt that he told you in Ezekiel 27:8 to stay away from? How do you separate yourself? Acts 19:18 says that many of those who had believed, if you are a believer, then he says they came confessing their faults, reporting what they had done. So with that being said, you need to ask the Most High for forgiveness for being a part of an organization that worships pagan gods and goddesses, the gods of Egypt, the idols that he told you to put away. You need to ask for forgiveness. You need to confess it, openly confess it, and then ask for forgiveness. Because at the end of the day, when everyone's going around saying Happy Founders Day, your founder is Satan. Okay? I don't care what man or false idol god that Satan has propped up there as the image, he's behind all of it. He is the founder of all of it. You must put away your idol god. You must openly confess, ask for forgiveness, then repent and walk away from your Greek letter fraternity or sorority organization. That means you will do just as King Josiah did in 2 Kings 23rd chapter. You will destroy and rid yourself of all household paraphernalia that you have that came from that sorority, including your pens, because I know they have a penance ceremony, your jerseys, your T-shirts, and definitely your certificate of membership. You will no longer have any affiliation with that organization. You will no longer participate in their events, their meetings, including the boule. You will have complete and total separation from them. You will completely denounce them, no excuses, just as the testimonies of those who were in it did. They told you they had to denounce it. You have to get King Josiah got rid of everything. He burned it. He broke down the altars. He got rid of everything. You got to get rid of all of it. You can't hold on to the cups. You can't hold on to the pens. It doesn't matter if it was a napkin or a straw. Get rid of all of it. Get rid of all of it. And then you have to denounce them publicly. Denounce them. Let them know I no longer want to be a part of your organization. Remove me from list of being on this membership. I don't want to be a part of this Pan-Hellenic Council anymore. And once you do it, then you stay away from it. Don't try to find an excuse to return to that sorority or fraternity, or don't allow members who choose to remain in it to convince you that it's okay, because it's not. It's not of the Father. Only a dog returns to his vomit. You can't serve two gods. Like you said, you're going to either love one, you're going to hate the other. Then you're going to need to fast and pray to detach yourself from those unclean spirits that you attach yourself to, and maybe even your family as well, because you enter into a covenant with those unclean spirits, whether you know it or not. It was spiritual. Like the gentleman said, you may not think it is, but you did. You made a covenant with death. And Satan is not going to be happy when you detach yourself from him. He's going to fight tooth and nail. Those spirits are like they have a right to you once you participate with them, once you invite, because you invited them into your life, into your heart, into your soul. So they're not going to go willingly. So you're going to have to fast and pray that y'all detach you from those unclean spirits. And Satan's going to continue to send probably members, don't listen, come on back. Don't let them try to convince you. They still believe that they have a right to you, but you're going to have to don't answer the phone calls. Don't even delete the numbers from the phone. Block the phone calls from people. You're going to have to get rid of them. You can't even be friends with those that are still in the world. You can't be a friend to the world, and because if you do, you become an enemy of his. Preeti, you can come in. Okay. I'm not sure if I'm looking to see if because I'm gonna. If you have any questions or comments about today's show, if you have something you'd like to share, press *6 on your phone. I'm looking. If you are on the phone, Joanne Perry, because I don't see her number on here. If you're on here, press *6 for you to share her testimony, because we were supposed to have her on. She agreed last week to come on and share her testimony. I do not see her on here. So if anyone else have any questions or comments about today's show, press *6 now. Wow. But I just wanted to let everybody know how serious, this is. Idol worship is not a game. People think it's a light thing. They don't know how serious Yah is about idolatry. For those of you who are thinking about joining a Black Greek sorority or fraternity, we pray that this message will turn you away from it. Please do not. They're demonic. They're straight idolatrous, worship of pagan gods. These organizations and secret societies, they hide behind, like I said earlier, community service, charitable causes, networking, all in the name of so-called brotherhood and sisterhood. That is not of our Messiah. They're deeply rooted under the surface of this smoke screen of this false unity, which is idolatry at its finest. Once you have been exposed to this truth, though, you're going to be held accountable for the truth. Those of you who listen to this, especially, and then you reject it, you're going to be held accountable, because you have to choose this day whom you're going to serve. Tomorrow is not promised. Tomorrow is not promised. You reject him today, he rejects you tomorrow. The Most High said, do not swear, bow down, and have idols. And we have seen that these organizations, through their songs, through their chants, through their hand symbolisms, and, you know, their initiate practices, they're doing exactly what the Most High said not to do. You know, we right now, it seems like we have more believers following Satan than ever before.
Yeah.
We got more believers following Satan.
That's because he's hiding in so many facets, you know. He's under every umbrella that you can look.
Yo, he got his hand in all the baskets, don't you say? He got them all covered. Like if you you don't like fraternities? Well, look what we got for you over here.
We got holidays for you.
Yeah, we got holidays for you. Oh, you ain't for holidays? Let's go to door number 3. See what you can find there. Maybe you might like what's behind door number 3.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, he's going to try to get you to honor him. He doesn't care how you worship him.
Oh, no.
As long as you do.
He ain't jealous.
He ain't jealous when it comes to, like, y'all say, I'm a jealous guy. Right. Satan is not jealous. He don't care how you worship him. He just want his props. You can tell him, you can tell him, you know my heart, and he can say, okay, you're right. I know your heart. That's what he's going to tell you, okay? He has no requirements.
Yes. All he wants is props. All he wants is props.
You know, like I said, we're commanded to test everything, to prove and examine everything, and to hold fast onto that which is good. Nothing that was presented here today is about these black Greek letter fraternities and sororities is good. You know, these organizations are nothing more than a counterfeit of what Yah has already properly ordained. You know, there's no greater example of brotherhood and togetherness than to be a part of the true brotherhood, which is the body of our Messiah. That's the only brotherhood that I want to be of. We're members of the body of Hamashiach, of our Messiah. There is no other brotherhood that I want to be a part of.
That's true.
He told us, if a man come to me and hate not his father, his mother, his wife, his children, his brothers, and his sisters, he says, and his own life, even his own life, he says, he cannot be my disciple. So what does this mean? This means that y'all must be first. That's what it means. He's not saying literally hate your mother or hate your brother or your wife or your husband. He's saying that you can't put anything before him. He has to be first. And if anything contradicts what he has told you in his word, or that which he has prohibited, if it contradicts it, then you have to denounce it and you have to come out of it. You can't have a dividing heart. You can't be double-minded. You can't be lukewarm. This is about walking the narrow road. This is about sanctification and being set apart unto him. We're set apart unto him. We enter into a covenant with him. So how are we going to be in a marriage covenant with him and then be laying down with another God? Even your own husband or wife, if you marry and you enter into a marriage covenant and taking vows with your husband and wife, you think he's going to sit up and let you say, come on, let me bring Johnny in the bed with us? I don't think so. I don't think that's gonna go over well. I'm gonna try that, and I'm gonna try that with my husband. See how he feels about that. Let's see if I say I'm gonna invite somebody else. Yeah. I doubt very seriously if he's gonna go for that. Okay.
Right.
The children of Israel were commanded to renounce their false gods, and I'm gonna say this scripture again before I end this. Ezekiel 20:7-8. Yah commanded them, he said, put away every man your abominations of your eyes. Defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am the Most High, your power. But he says in verse 8, they rebelled against me. They would not hearken unto me, meaning they didn't listen. He said they did not, every man, put away the abominations of their eyes. He said neither did they forsake the idols of Egypt. He says, therefore, I'm going to pour out my fury. My anger is going to be on them, and it is going to accomplish what I set for it to do, because you won't do it. So for those of you who listen to this message and you reject what it was presenting here, and you don't listen and you continue in it and you refuse to put away the idols of Egypt, which means to detach yourself from these wicked black Greek letter sororities and fraternities, Yah's anger is going to come upon you. This is not me. This is the Most High. And those of you and these black Greek letter fraternities, sororities that over here in America, majority of you are Judah. You're the leading tribe. That's how we ended up over here. Because we were walking in disobedience. You have grasped on to the Greco-Roman Greece. In the scriptures in Maccabees, it says Chittim. Chittim is modern day Greece. Okay? You don't understand why you love your Greek organizations. You have no idea that the first and second book of Maccabees, which was taken out of the scripture, tells where you got your Pan-Helletic council from. It's right there. When I started putting this letter together and I saw that and I was reading there, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is it right here. This is where you got it from. So put down your idols, O house of Israel, children of Judah, that were sold unto the Grecians. Put your idols down. Do you have anything you'd like to say about today's show? Any questions, comments? Because I don't see anybody. I'm not sure. I apologize for my listeners. I have no idea. She has not called in. I had no idea she was not going to show up. So I'm going to have to do something a little bit different, because this is the second time this has kind of happened. You know, because I don't normally like to put out there that someone's going to be here if they're not going to keep the commitment, or at least let me know why. We just didn't know. So we apologize for that. But do you have anything that you would like to add before you have prayer?
I just very thorough, you know, and especially, you know, for those, I like the videos that you that complemented the lesson, and just bring in all the scriptures that you included. Just is, you know, like you said again, you know, Israel, we've been Judah and Israel, we've been whoring after idols, you know, all throughout our history, you know, and now it's time that we return back to the covenant of the Most High Yah and serve Him and give Him His due diligence. You know, He is requiring your heart, your mind, and your soul, and you can't do it serving another God. And that's all I have to say. Great lesson, sis, again. Praise be to Yah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can go ahead and lead us out in prayer, and we want to thank everyone who has joined us today. We truly appreciate you, and make sure you share this audio broadcast.
Oh, and just making another reference to the lesson. I like how you reference the guys that they serve, because a lot of times people, you know, when you join stuff, you really don't know you're joining because it looked good. You know, especially
or the stepping or the parties and stuff like that. Yeah, the
stepping in the parties, because you relate to that. Or, you know, like they said, like the networking and the business. So I like, you know, that point of it, because you really get to see what you are serving, you know, and that's the most important of them all. And just to know that, you know, and the scripture that you brought up with Josiah and how he was serving other guys, and how he broke the, you know, the sacrifice altar, and he denounced it. So those scriptures really brought it to home. And so I'm just praying that, you know, our brothers and sisters that's listening, that's in fraternities or sororities or Masons or Eastern Stars, and not only that, those who's contemplating joining, I just hope they really take heed to this and understand these are why the curses of Deuteronomy 28 has fell upon us because of our whoredom and our idolatry and fornication. And, you know, we need to not continue to anger the Most High Yah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought it was pivotal to bring out those guys because, like Yeshua said, woman, you know not what you worship. Because many people say, oh, well, my mother used to be an AKA, or my grandmother was a Delta, my great-great-grandmother. Just like Yeshua said, woman, you know not what you worship. So I wanted to tell you today, just in case you didn't know what God you're worshiping, so you won't have no excuse when you stand before the Most High, because you have been told today. Okay, every last one of those organizations, I told you the God or gods, because some of them had 3 or 4 that you were serving. And now you know what you're worshiping, so now you know what you need to do. If you truly love the Most High Yah, like you say you do. Now, if you love your sorority or Minerva or the Sphinx or Apollo or Isis more than you love Yah, then the choice has already been made. And so that's all I have to say.
Okay, I'm going to lead us out with prayer. This comes from 1 Chronicles 29, verses 10 through 13 and 18. And David blessed Yah before the eyes of all the congregation. And David said, Blessed are you, O Yah, the power of Israel, our Father forever and ever. To you, O Yah, be the greatness and the power and the high esteem and the victory and the majesty. For in all the heavens and earth belongs to you. O Yah, yours is the kingdom, and you lift up yourself to all as head. And the riches and the honor come from before you, and you rule over all. And in your hand is power and might, and it is in your hand to make great and to give strength to all. And now our power, we are giving thanks to you and giving praise to your high esteemed name. O Yah, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, our fathers. Keep this forever for the intent of the thoughts of the heart of your people, and prepare their heart toward you. In Yeshua's name, so be it.
In Yeshua's name, so be it. So we pray that you all will enjoy the rest of your Sabbath, this day that He has set apart, that you can just relax from the cares of the world. And we pray, Yah willing, that you will be able to join us next week. So that being said, we say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.